Welcome to Science, Health and Healing Library of Children's Health Core. I'm Dr. Majid. The subject of this article is Spontaneity of Oxidation in Nature Part 3. In the first two parts I explained that it is spontaneous for substances in nature to lose their energy by processes called loss of electrons or oxidation in nature. Please look at part 1 and part 2 after you finish this. These basic concepts are so important that if you can look at the four parts of this program, spontaneity of oxidation in nature, it'll be so much easier for you to grasp the other concepts that I explained, whether I'm talking about gynecomastia for a little child, enlargement of the breast and use of castor oil, or I'm talking about arthritis in an 82-year-old person and I recommend hydrogen peroxide, foot soaks and castor oil, or someone has primary biliary cirrhosis and I recommend anti-inflammatory therapies for the liver. The underlying principles are the same. So here in Spontaneity of Oxidation Part 3, I'm going to focus on explaining to you how hydrogen peroxide foot soaks work. Spontaneity of oxidation in nature tells us that once you initiate a reaction, it has its own momentum and it will keep carrying this reaction. It doesn't need outside cues, outside program, outside energy. For example, oxygen in the air will decompose your peaches, your cherries, your vegetable juice, your fruit juice, the butter on the kitchen. And the rate of spoilage or decomposition will continue to increase with time because these natural enzyme and non-enzymatic reactions, once they are triggered, the oxidation reactions, they feed upon their own energy. Now let's talk about then peroxide. I explained to you in a segment the grease and detergent model of disease that essentially at one level cells sicken and die because of buildup of grease on them and within them. Grease is a term that I introduced many years ago for cellular debris, cellular waste, rancid fats, tangled proteins and sticky sugars. Now let's apply hydrogen peroxide foot soaks. What would happen? Hydrogen peroxide is an activated form of oxygen. Now remember, oxygen steals energy. By stealing energy, it's going to trigger and perpetuate more of those degradative processes. Now in this case, we are not talking about fresh vegetable juice or fresh cherries. Here we are talking about grease buildup in the cells, which doesn't allow the cell membrane receptors and channels to work. The grease does not allow oxygen to freely move into the cells to turn the clean mitochondrial energy system to produce ATP energy. But when you do hydrogen peroxide foot soaks, which is an activated form of oxygen, a little bit which gets into it, it initiates and activates certain clot-busting enzymes. They're called proteolytic enzymes. They will break down the meshwork of tangled proteins and liberate the rancid fats and the sticky sugars to the decomposing effects, disintegrating effects of oxygen. That's what I mean when I say oxygen is the ultimate detergent of the human body. It will also break down, of course, grease, cellular debris, cellular waste. So I'm going to urge you again to look at all the segments on this channel, Spontaneity of Oxidation. Please spend some time. See if you can see the thread of continuity that I present in this, because you cannot understand Alzheimer's of the brain. If you watch your mom literally disintegrate right before your eyes and you're helpless because none of the Alzheimer's drugs work, but you want to see if nutritionally you can do something, but you want to understand how does it work. Well, if you can look at all the segments on spontaneity of oxidation in nature, let's say it takes you 1 week to do it because you only want to look at one, but look at it twice, each segment that you do once a day. You'll have a much clearer idea when you come to my Dr. Ali's protocol for reversing Alzheimer's disease in its early stages and arresting Alzheimer's disease in some early cases, as well as some actually intermediate cases. We haven't found success in reversing Alzheimer's disease in its advanced stages yet. Perhaps someday I'll be able to report that. Children's Health Corps was founded and funded by Talat, my wife, and I some years ago with a clear vision and mission of providing authentic information untainted by corporate deception to children, their parents, grandchildren, teachers, and civic-minded citizens all over the world, easy to access, simple to understand, and of course free of cost. Please support us, forward this YouTube segment to your email, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn contacts. Visit our website www.kids123.org 123.org. There is a lot body of information there, and then there is a link on the home page, how can I help? Click there and we will offer you some specific suggestion how you can participate in our vision. Thank you so much. Until we meet again, may you be gracious, graceful, and generous in your spirit. Thank you.